Start things live here on LinkedIn. Waiting for it to go. It'll be there just a second. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us once again for our weekly Manufacturing Ecommerce Success Series with me, Damon Pistolka, and Exit Your Way, Kurt Anderson, and B2B Tail. And I'll let you take it away today and introduce our guest, Kurt.
Damon, thank you so much, brother. And just, Damon, it's our last program of 2020. Boy, 2020 just, it was so much fun this year. It just flew right by.
Yeah.
What a wonderful year. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We've got a great crowd here. Our buddy Dave, Buffalo, Greg, Gene, Kevin, Steve. We're on LinkedIn Live, Twitter Live, Facebook Live. We are all over the place. So for taking time to join us today. My name's Kurt Anderson, and what an honor, what a privilege. So Damon, don't tell Kate, but I bought for Christmas, I bought her Ancestry.com. So because I'm somehow we're related somehow, which I don't know if she wants to admit that or not, but my dear friend Kate Anderson, the director, the head of marketing at Alibaba.com is with us today. Kate, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me, Kurt. And if we're related, it's going to be quite a big Anderson family reunion.
That's right.
With all the other Andersons out there.
Right. Both of our great grandfathers came from Sweden, so somewhere there's got to be a connection somewhere. So anyway, Kate, what an honor, what a privilege. You and I, we've built a wonderful relationship this year. We've done a bunch of programs together. We've had all sorts of fun. And just I want to give everybody just a little background on you, Kate. And I'll tell you, what an impressive, wonderful career that you've built so far. So you go back. So we have a Georgetown grad, we have a Boston University MBA grad, and then she kicks off her career right into e-commerce. I mean, right from day one. Great foresight. If you look at, I've dropped her LinkedIn profile in the chat box, folks. Everybody here on Remo, drop in your LinkedIn profile. Let's all connect. And Kate's just done an incredible job. She's really built an envious career following high-tech companies, going from e-credit to all sorts of different great companies, all the way up to Alibaba. And you've been the head of marketing of multiple companies. Isn't that right, Kate?
Yeah, my career's really been in the B2B software as a service space, but with e-commerce as well. At LogMeIn, we did a lot of B2B marketing in the e-commerce space. So this just seemed like a logical step for me. And it's been such an adventure and so much fun building up the Alibaba.com brand in the United States and really helping US small businesses understand the platform, both from a sourcing and a selling perspective. I'll talk a little bit about that today. Sure. But my team in New York, we're about 50 folks, and we are dedicated to helping U.S. small businesses onboard onto the platform and be successful.
So let's take a step back. So again, if you follow your career, so I saw that you were with Trustpilot. That was pretty cool. And I know Damon, when you do your presentations, you're very bullish and very pro reviews. And reviews are, we always talk about here that social proof. That's, a bunch of us are marketers. That is so critical, so important. And what's interesting, Kate, can you just talk, before we jump into your Alibaba, talk about that a little bit, because it looks like you helped a company make a footprint here in the United States with Trustpilot. Is that correct?
That is correct. So yeah, in addition to just B2B SaaS marketing, I'm very, very interested in global companies and multinational companies and helping sort of these companies that are headquartered somewhere else get a foothold in the United States. So Trustpilot is actually a Danish company, very, very well known in Europe. I joined them in 2013 and the New York team to really increase their footprint in the United States and get U.S. small businesses, primarily in the e-commerce space, to have these reviews on their site and use that as a marketing tool and a trust signal to the consumers.
Absolutely, and I was thrilled to see that you've had that background and your extensive SaaS experience, and with that Trustpilot, again, that's from for those of you out there, whether you're advisor, consultant, you're getting into e-commerce, those reviews are just so critical. Just again, that social proof, solidifying what you're doing with your, the quality of your product, the quality of your services, and great SEO value. So it was just fascinating to see like how, Trustpilot calls on Kate Anderson. Hey, can you help us open up the doors here in the United States? You blew it out of the, just crushed it, did an amazing job, and led up to here at Alibaba. So once again, one of the largest companies on the planet, who none other than Kate Anderson is better for the job to help a global giant come to the United States and try to create that footprint. What attracted you to Alibaba, and how were those early days when you first started?
Well, I was attracted by the opportunity that, as I said, like my interests are really in global companies, and the opportunity to sort of take, a job at one of the biggest brands and companies in the world, and, fit the market for the US was a really exciting challenge. And I think what we've done over the past couple of years, I think a lot of folks really understand like Alibaba Group, and, it's Jack Ma, it's the big Chinese company. And what we're trying to do is raise awareness of Alibaba.com, which is actually the oldest business unit of Alibaba Group, as a B2B marketplace. We're not just, where you can go buy one thing. It's a wholesale marketplace, and really raising awareness of the platform itself as part of the overall Alibaba Group ecosystem.
And that's so let's segue, let's go right into it. So, some of the things that we've done together this year. So Alibaba is just relentless with content, putting out all sorts of helpful information for manufacturers, small manufacturers. And I know you have a presentation that you want to go and get into, and Alibaba did an amazing, incredible survey. Is this a good time to jump right into that and share that with folks?
Sure. I'm going to run through this quickly. I just want to show people the data because I think they'll find it pretty interesting.
I think while you're doing this, it's interesting that you're promoting Alibaba.com, because back in 2004 and 5 was actually the first time that I ever used it to find suppliers for a company that I was helping. And we actually ended up not only finding the supplier, but going and visiting the supplier offshore and ended up doing business with them. So yeah,
it's really amazing the breadth and the depth of the supply. Yeah. Well, can you guys see my screen? I'm going to start the slideshow.
We can.
Yep, we can.
Okay, great. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how Alibaba.com enables manufacturing e-commerce success. So as I mentioned, we are the oldest business unit as part of the overall Alibaba Group. It was actually Jack Ma's original vision to have a gateway for folks to find global supply. And we're really like an online trade show, open 24/7, 365 days a year, where sellers of the world can connect with buyers both in their own country and globally. We've been named the best B2B website in the world by Forbes magazine 8 times in a row.
Nice.
So we did a survey back in December of 2019 of 5,000 US B2B SMBs, and we released those results in January. And then very quickly, the world changed, and those results, the sentiment, the sort of digitization results that came out of that survey very quickly became obsolete. So we launched another survey in October to sort of get a pulse on what the post-COVID US B2B SMB was really thinking, feeling, and what they were investing in for their future growth. So we did this survey back in October, and we found that the levels of digitization among US B2B SMBs and globalization is really increasing. So 93% are now conducting some kind of B2B trade through online channels, which is an 8% increase from the last survey that we ran. So a pretty remarkable move towards digitization. And then 80% of these businesses either kept the same amount or grew their online B2B transactions. Things when we say digitization, we mean things like e-commerce websites, mobile apps, digital invoicing. So any of these things can kind of signal a move towards digitization. Again, compared to 9 months ago, they're doing much more, communication online, attending online trade shows, those sorts of things. So another thing is a move towards globalization. So again, we're seeing in December 2019, 17% were buying or selling internationally, and that was up to 25% in the last survey. So again, going digital, going global. And the big takeaway from the survey, when we looked at the different industries, we actually found that manufacturers were digitizing at twice the rate of other industries during the pandemic in 2020, which is really interesting because I think manufacturers have traditionally been more analog and more slow to digitize. So we were really interested in this particular data point. These are the details about what they're investing in, online trade, actually having their own websites, moving to marketplaces, and then just introducing new products and services that they wouldn't have introduced without the move towards digital.
Hey, Kate, I'm sorry. You know what? The slides aren't changing on us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if there's you see that, Damon?
Yeah, because you can, it must be in the screen share settings.
Okay.
There you go. There it did. We're good. Now we got it.
Okay.
So you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see the PowerPoint screen. Yeah, not the presentation screen.
Hey, and Greg Mishu just shouted out, go into presentation mode, and that might.
So let's start. How's that?
We still are seeing. I think you're gonna have to share a different screen to do it, or share a different window. Excuse me.
Or and again, if
go through this, like
we'll go
through talking points on it.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so just it's not in presentation mode, but you can still see the slides. So
yeah, we're seeing them moving now. Yeah,
okay.
Good.
So again, this is just some of the survey data that I went through in my talking points. Again, manufacturers digitizing at twice the rate of other industries, which was the big takeaway from the survey. Yeah. As I said, they've been traditionally slow to digitize, so that was really interesting. So in response to that, the team at Alibaba.com developed a digitization sprint for U.S. manufacturers, and we developed an 8-course curriculum really designed to help these businesses get online, start selling, being successful, getting a lot of traffic to their sites, making sales online, getting customers from around the world, and finally growing their customer base and keeping their customers happy. So our first course was November 22nd or 24th, and Kurt was our speaker. We've had a really awesome lineup of speakers. Each one has been unique and brought something new to the table. And we've had a lot of positive response. People are really excited about it. So we'll be wrapping that up next week. And we'll definitely be putting out the content and syndicating the content so more and more folks can benefit from it.
Hey, Kate.
Yeah.
On the digital sprint, were there certain, was there a trend that you were starting to hear from, multiple attendees or at each, or was it different across each course, or what were you hearing from attendees?
So a couple different things. So we had a few folks that were more on the, traditional B2C side of things. So selling on Amazon,
Etsy,
Wish, Walmart, Etsy, who were more interested in how can they sell wholesale. Mm-hmm. So folks like that. And then a lot that have been in business a long time and are traditional manufacturers that are going to trade shows, are driving around, shaking hands, issuing paper invoices, that are really seeing the need to go digital and wanted to know where to get started. So I would say those people fell into those two camps.
And I know so there's a lot of mutual friends here on the program. So we had Allison DeFord was one of your speakers. Ray Zagano just spoke yesterday, they both have their great podcast, MFG Out Loud. You had Ira Bowman, dear friend of ours, and works with Damon. So, a lot of our dear friends, Jeff Long, Josh Curcio. So with each of those programs, tailored to something different. What I'm so bullish about with Alibaba, and where we've had a great time working together, is how you really tailor for the custom manufacturer. And that's a lot of times what we preach about. And like Greg Mishu, we were talking about that last week at his program. And we had Brian Beck 2 weeks ago. We're talking about that I was using the word poor, but the custom manufacturer feels a little bit left out of that e-commerce party, where they don't have that finished good, the proprietary product that they can easily put on for e-commerce. What I love about Alibaba is it opens a door for that custom manufacturer. Can you just talk about that for a little bit about, if I'm a custom manufacturer and in your survey, this is this is pretty powerful. 75% of all manufacturers are 20 employees or less.
Yeah.
They typically don't have a marketer on staff. They didn't have e-commerce, didn't really have a need for it. How do you talk to that 20 person or less custom manufacturer on how Alibaba is a solution for them to get into this e-commerce party?
Well, I think the thing about joining a marketplace is that the traffic is already there. And people can join the marketplace and set up their storefront, and whatever it is you're selling, there's someone looking for something like that. And then we have tools like request for quotation, where a buyer can be very specific about what they're looking for, and then sellers can actually respond to that. So people have prototypes, and they're wanting to invent something. We sort of can connect the inventor with the person that can actually make it a reality and build those products.
Right. So you play, it's a perfect matchmaking opportunity. So again, so that manufacturer out there, again, we're talking to that custom manufacturer that doesn't have that finished good or proprietary product. They can promote. So if they're not familiar with, how the Alibaba platform works, you can be promoting your proprietary process, your services. So in our SEO language, they can be using their capabilities, which to us are, their keywords. So there's a lot of opportunities within the Alibaba platform that they can take advantage of.
Yeah,
correct?
Absolutely. And in addition to the organic, we have tools for buying keywords. So if there's a specific keyword you want to target on the platform, you can actually buy that traffic.
Yeah, and that's one of the things.
Long tail keywords that fit, that are very close to what you're selling. You can make some progress there in terms of getting in front of the right
audience,
buyers with the intent that you're looking for.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Kate, too, and I don't think that enough manufacturers understand that. It's not you build it and they will come. I mean, getting traffic you went over it pretty quickly, but I think that's the true benefit of an Alibaba kind of platform. Just because the traffic is there and the traffic looking for specific custom manufactured products, as Kurt was alluding to.
Yes. And we have 16 million active buyers on the platform.
Wait, Kate, can you say that again? I didn't hear you.
16 million active buyers on the platform.
Looking for anything and everything. And again, for the manufacturer out there, odds are they're looking for either a product, a service that you provide. And what's great, Kate, so, Steve Melito is with us today. So Steve and I, we're working with a phenomenal company called Voice Express. And they have a great technology product, and they're an active user with Alibaba. And so what they're doing is they're tag teaming their marketing strategy, where they've put the Alibaba button on their website, driving traffic from their website to Alibaba. And you're like, well, wait a minute. If I'm on the website, why would I do that? Well, if somebody is versed and more comfortable on Alibaba, it's that opportunity. Again, Greg Mishu likes to preach that know, like, and trust. So if somebody feels more comfortable in Alibaba, we're driving traffic from the website to Alibaba, and vice versa. They've done a really nice job building out their web store on Alibaba to pull traffic into their website. So we're kind of making it a two-way street, which again, I think that's new to a lot of people. Are you hearing the same thing?
Yeah, well, a lot of folks will have their own e-commerce site and be on the marketplace. But yes, we do have sellers that will just, you come to their website and they just direct you directly to their own storefront on Alibaba.com. They want to focus all the traffic there.
Perfect. So, well, great. I wanted to touch on that custom manufacturer. I just feel such an important part of our program. So if you want to get back now, I see Damon, I have to give a little shameless shout out here. I see Kate has the Forbes article, and just so everybody knows, the president of Alibaba gave our little program here a little shout out in Forbes. So even though we're a brand new program, we got a shout out in Forbes. Damon, how was that?
Yeah. You're quoted in this article. I just wanted to highlight it to sort of give everyone an example of a business that went digital during COVID. Bednark Studios, they're based in Brooklyn Navy Yard, and they make custom installations for in-person events and retail. So obviously they were hit very hard by the shutdowns. And then they quickly pivoted to actually got a contract from the city to make face shields and dividers for taxi cabs. But what this did was it made Michael Bednark here, the founder of Bednark Studios, realize like he needed to go digital. So he quickly set up a new website. He set up all his social media accounts and a scheduling app. Didn't have these before COVID. Yeah. And then literally within 8 days, he was getting 300 orders a week online. So just, an example of how digitization can really, really benefit manufacturers.
And I had the privilege I met Michael back in October, and Damon, his 70% down is what his business was hit. And he did amazing. If you go to his website, he did amazing work all around the city, around Manhattan, Brooklyn, all sorts of event fixtures and what have you. Cutting edge business, super exciting. All of a sudden COVID hits and just, he runs right into a wall. Yeah. And what an incredible, relentless, inspiring entrepreneur. He, as Kate just said, turns the ship around, plunges into, the safety products, as she said, in the cabs, and just kept moving forward. Didn't feel sorry for himself. Just kept, just an incredibly inspiring story. Great. Thanks for sharing that one, Kate.
Yeah. And like, I said, going digital, can be a lot of things. It can be setting up your social media accounts to reach new customers, like a scheduling app. These are the sort of different technologies that manufacturers are starting to adopt. Just really quickly, we focused a lot on like selling on Alibaba.com and reaching a global audience, but we have lots of tools for sourcing as well, online payment protection, financing, logistics. We can get you end-to-end, order something, and then have it delivered to your business. These are just some of the numbers I was talking about before. So huge amount of supply on the platform, 160,000 global suppliers. It's not just Chinese supply, it's from all over the place. We have 60 million active buyers across multiple industries, and these buyers are in 190 different countries. And this is really interesting. These 60 million buyers send 300,000 inquiries every day to suppliers. So they're not just visiting the site, they're interacting with the suppliers.
I'm sorry, how many?
300,000 a day.
That is crazy. And I want to back up 1 second. You mentioned financing. For folks that might be new to a lot of people, can you just touch base on the Alibaba financing? What is that?
Well, we have a tool called payment terms. Well, trade assurance is our purchase protection. So this is sort of for, I'm transacting online. I don't know this supplier. I can't go drive down the street and check them out, check out their factory. Trade assurance helps protect the purchase between the buyer and the seller. So that's one piece that we have on the in the finance area. Nice. We have payment terms, which certain suppliers will offer 60-day invoicing. So once you receive the invoice, you'll have 60 days to pay. Mm-hmm. So which is really a boom for cash flow for small businesses.
Absolutely.
As I mentioned, we have freight solutions. So we have you can instantly compare quotes from 12 different providers when you're sourcing on the platform, which is amazing. So we're not just listing suppliers. We're actually giving you the tools to transact with them in the digital space.
Now, Kate, is this just for U.S. to companies outside the U.S., or is this also for U.S. to U.S. customers?
This is for U.S. customers from overseas.
Okay, U.S. to global. Okay, or to outside of the U.S. Okay.
Yeah, and these are just some of the selling tools on the platform. As I mentioned, you get a storefront if you're selling on the platform with product listings, and you can optimize these. We actually did one of our digitization sprint classes on this, how to get the best photography, the best copy descriptions to really make your product shine online. And the more people click on it, the more you're going to go to the top of the search rankings. So very detailed product listings, which is really important for manufacturer when these things are highly customized and not off the shelf. You want to really be able to describe your product in depth. As I mentioned, we have the keyword advertising tools. So marketing tools are built right into the platform. You can buy keywords for the buyers that are most likely to convert, and again, get to the top of those search rankings on the platform. We have detailed company profiles. So, if you can't meet in person, you don't have a storefront, you can really go into detail about your business and how long you've been in business.
So Kate, again, so that custom manufacturer out there that, maybe they have a poor web presence or, website from, way back, it just wasn't a priority. And so it gets a little daunting where I need to put up a website, the hosting, if I want to get an e-commerce, the SSL certificate, that whole rigmarole. This is an opportunity that Alibaba offers, that one-stop shop that you can create that web presence, that whole website, the web experience, and they can actually be marketing this to their customers to go to our Alibaba store to check out what we have going on. Correct?
That is correct.
Yep. Perfect.
Very turnkey.
Very turnkey. And one last thing I just want to touch on that you mentioned, pay-per-click. So we have marketers that are with us, they're probably well-versed on, Google Ads, pay-per-click. Can you just touch on, so if it's new for any of the manufacturers or somebody that's new to, just explain what that pay-per-click model, or how do they bid? What does that mean, bidding on those keywords?
So if you're selling this, for example, Karmic Seed is selling bamboo plates, disposable plates. So you might buy a keyword for eco-friendly dining ware.
Yep.
So, just tying those specific search terms to what you're selling is a capability that we offer on the platform.
And so it's twofold. So when somebody's doing a search on Alibaba, because basically, Alibaba is a giant, is a trade show, is a virtual trade show. And like Damon was talking about, I remember back in the day, going overseas and trying to hit a bunch of different vendors or different trade shows, where now you can just sit in the comfort of your home and find the same vendors. So this is a great opportunity to create that. So with those keywords, they can do a search within Alibaba. And secondly, Alibaba being, one of the largest websites on the planet, you're attacking searches, Google, what have you. So those same niche products could be coming up on a Google search, and their Alibaba store would be found, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So there's multiple benefits there.
Yeah. And as I talked about sort of these communication tools, we do have real-time translation and messaging. So if you want to get more details from a supplier, you want to negotiate, the tools are there to message right on the platform. And I think I mentioned the request for quotation, which I think is really valuable for these custom manufacturers. They can actually respond to specific buyers' requests and have access to those. Real-time translation, I think it's up to 17 languages. So, global buy, global sell, making it easier for you to transact online, even if there's a language barrier. Finally, I encourage everyone to visit alibaba.com/buildup. This is where we host all of our B2B Today content, which is resources for U.S. small businesses, case studies, tips, new product rollouts, profiles of our successful buyers and sellers and what they've gotten from the platform. So definitely check it out and subscribe to our newsletter. You'll get all the up-to-date news of what we're doing at alibaba.com in North America.
Very cool.
That's phenomenal. One last thing that I want to cover real quick is you touched on that RFQ. And again, as you can tell, we're really singing loud and clear to the custom manufacturer, right? So again, that's a great opportunity where, they don't have that proprietary product. A customer, that ideal customer, can land on the Alibaba store and they can engage because they see the keywords, they see the processes. So you can basically create your own little website on Alibaba. And when they land there is an opportunity. It's not a transaction where I'm making a purchase, but I can engage with you with that RFQ. And that RFQ goes directly to the customer, right?
Yes.
And that's phenomenal. There's no your pricing model. There's no commission taken out. There's no, it's part of, you're paying for those.
Part of your membership.
And it's 100. So that sale is 100% yours. And I think, and again, as I've been talking to a lot of different manufacturers, they're getting really excited when they hear about the benefits that Alibaba offers in that capacity.
Kurt, I think you know more than I do.
Kate, that's impossible. So, Kate, last question for you. We're right at time. We want to be respectful of everybody's Friday here, and it again is our last program of 2020. I might get a little choked up, and my dear cousin or niece, I'm not sure, Kate Anderson is here with us. Kate, if you're talking to that small business owner, this digital footprint is brand new. 2020 has been a little rough on them. Trade shows are gone. In-person trade shows. Their sales reps can't go on the road. What advice do you tell those manufacturers to kind of help get through for what are you telling them for 2021?
I'm going to keep beating the drum of go digital and start dipping a toe in it, whether it's just setting up your social media accounts to connect with your customers that way, coming to marketplaces, virtual trade shows. I think there's lots of ways that businesses can accelerate their growth in 2021 despite the ongoing COVID shutdown. And hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel in 2021. But one thing I have to say, of all the businesses that I've talked to this year, is the incredible, like Michael Bednark's just one example of dozens of groups that I've talked to this year. They're incredibly resilient. They're incredibly positive. They're incredibly creative. And, we're just one tool in the toolbox of the things these folks are doing to forge forward and grow their business no matter what.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'll tell you, Dave and I, we talked to a lot of different companies around the country, or I do work with like the manufacturing extension partnerships and talk to a lot of different folks there. And you're hitting it spot on. That resiliency of the U.S. manufacturers, the entrepreneurs is just so inspiring. And again, like Michael, that was I was on the panel with the president of Alibaba, John Kaplan, and Michael that day. And it was hard to not get choked up to hear his story. Down 70%, just came to a screeching halt. I have a client that I'm working with up near Damon's Way, 60% down. It just came out of nowhere. They, no fault of their own. They had everything in place. They have just a killer 2020. And life change, world change, and nobody stopped. They just kept plowing forward. And, that's what the great thing about Alibaba is, just going out, getting these stories, working with these entrepreneurs to turn the ship around. And, what a great platform and a great solution that you offer, Kate. And again, I can't think of anybody better than Kate Anderson for Alibaba to have recruited to get this whole initiative. And a lot of folks didn't realize that Alibaba was available here in the States. And it's so, relatively new. And just started in 2019, then all of a sudden 2020 happens. And so you and your team have done an amazing job getting that message out there. So what's a highlight for Alibaba for 2021? I know probably more the same, but anything that you want to share with the folks that we're going to expect from Alibaba for next year?
We want to keep onboarding new U.S. businesses onto the platform, like both from a selling and a sourcing perspective. Mm-hmm. I think we'll be doing more online sort of category features. We did our online trade shows in the fall, featuring like U.S. food and beverage manufacturers, featuring U.S. health and beauty. We did one supplements and nutrition. So I think we'll be having more of those category specific big events to drive traffic and to do the matching of the buyers and the sellers.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
I think it's as hard as it's been for manufacturers this year with the digitization, as you said. Inevitably, though, really, this is something that's been happening. It just was it was accelerated so much by COVID, and I think as painful as it is, the manufacturers are going to come out of it better because of it.
Yeah.
They did have to dig down deep and figure out different ways, but just like the examples you've shown, that is going to carry on in the future to not only be a matter of survival today, but a matter of how they're going to thrive tomorrow.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then Steve Melito from the New York Fuse Hub MEP, he just asked, is there a calendar of the virtual events on Alibaba? So, Steve, so I know let me drop it. There's a link right there. So there's a link to Kate's LinkedIn profile. There's a link to the digital sprint. So there's one left. It's this Tuesday. And that wraps up. It was an 8-course event. And if you go to Alibaba B2B Tuesday, is that
Alibaba.com/buildup. We'll definitely have information on there as we roll out these virtual events. You can subscribe to our newsletter there, and we'll be making announcements as soon as we finalize the dates.
Perfect. And I know you do a great job on B2B Tuesdays. I think Allison just did a spot for you last week or week before, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. Wrote an article and obviously taught a course as well. So that was really awesome.
Yep, she is phenomenal. And from what I hear, everybody just absolutely adored it. Everybody loves Allison. So that was phenomenal.
Yeah. So we definitely are taking submissions from people that have something to say to the US B2B SMB audience. So definitely contact me. Love to collaborate and partner on that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Perfect. So what we're going to do, it kind of breaks my heart, Damon. It's our last one of the year. So Kate, thank you. What an honor and privilege it's been working with you this year. I'm looking forward to a great 2021. And Damon, brother, my heart's out to you. My hat's off to you. Thank you for making this dream come true. This show has been a great run. And so I just want to wish everybody an incredible, amazing, safe, wonderful holiday season. Happy New Year. Let's keep in touch on LinkedIn. And we have a great series coming up for you right after the holidays. We are booked up with incredible speakers right up through March. So we're going to keep this rolling. So everybody, we're going to head over to the tables. Please come over and introduce yourselves to Kate. She would love to meet you and hear what you have going on. Everybody on LinkedIn Live and out there, thank you. Damon, thank you. Kate, thank you. And happy holidays.
Thanks a lot for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Awesome, Kate. We're going to go off on LinkedIn Live for those people listening there and back to the tables on Remo. All right.